People ask me, do you work a lot? I'm like, no, I don't work that much. My wife is like, you always work. Like, it doesn't feel like work to me. Like, I love this.
Do you know how much revenue they generated for you? Gross profit revenue.
Last year was 110,000.
Here is the process that we use when we're selling your home. Hi, everybody. My name is James Becker, and I am the founder and CEO of Fusion Growth Partners. One of the reasons why you might listen to what it is that I'm having to say and to consider some of the thoughts is because I have built from scratch one of the largest mega organizations or teams in the country. We currently have close to 850 top real estate agents that work and partner with my organization, and I have over 300 employees that support these agents. Last year, our agents sold over $6 billion in real estate, producing well over $150 million in gross commissions earned. I hope you find what I'm sharing interesting, insightful, and helpful for your business. Where do you feel that you are struggling with? Let's start there.
I think my biggest problem is delegation and organizing. I'm a doer. Like, I'll run 100 miles an hour all the time. I never get tired of doing it. It's just been easier for me just to leave everybody behind and do everything myself. And so the last probably 4 or 5 years, I have an assistant now that does a lot of stuff, and I've let go a lot there. But that's my biggest struggle right now, is just being able to get a good team on board and knowing what to give up, what not to, and being willing and able to do that.
Okay, so your due north is to be able to take care of your family, be able to have some trips with your family, spend time with your loved ones, and you want to serve your community personally and professionally. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're able to serve other people, what does that do for you?
For me, it's a sense of accomplishment. Anytime I can help somebody else, even if I'm just a little part of helping them achieve a goal, it just makes me feel good.
And what does that good feeling do for you?
It's a motivator. It makes me like, okay, like, hey, we got you there. Now, how can we get you to the next part? Or who else can I help, achieve what they're wanting to do? And it doesn't necessarily have to be related to my business. Like, I network
Right?
with a lot of people, and I find like, hey, what do you do? Who can I introduce you to? How can I help you get to the next level
Right.
there too?
We want to get to 1 million in gross income. And how many homes did you sell last year?
Me personally, I believe I sold 40. My team did 80.
Okay, so tell me about your team. What is your team structure?
I created a team kind of by default. I always worked by myself. I hired my assistant, and then I've had a few people come and say, "Hey, I want to work with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have a team. I don't. That's not how I do things." But I've had some people talk me into it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, but here's the thing. I'm not going to babysit you. I'm never going to ask what you're doing. I don't want to be your boss. I'm like, I'll help you." And so I have five. I call it 5 or 6 misfits on my team that literally, if they told me my goal is 4 houses this year, I don't care. That's fine. If there's
Yeah.
12, I'll help them get 12. I don't care what their goal is. I'm just going to help them get to their goal. I'm not going to create the goal for them. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of where we are now. It's changed a little bit. My daughter, she's actually going to have my second grandchild today. She's got
Okay.
a C-section planned in like 2 hours.
Okay.
But she's now on my team, and she'll probably be the one. She worked with me when she was going to college. Then she worked for my lender. She was the operations manager, the pipeline manager. She had her first child, decided she was going to go back to real estate, so she had a little bit more flexibility in her schedule. And she's basically going to, at some point, probably take over. And she's a very good operations mind, where I'm not.
Yeah.
So she starting to help me put some systems together and stuff like that.
So you're a front man and she's able to take care of the operations.
Yeah, and she put 5 houses in their contract last week. She's 32. She has a lot of first-time home buyer friends in that age group, and
Yeah.
she's a hustler too, though.
Okay, so how many people do you have on your team? You said five?
I think there's 8, but 2 of them are full-time. The rest are part-time, have professional jobs, and they're going to do 4 to 8 transactions a year.
What are the two full-time people?
One's my daughter,
What is your daughter's name?
Caden, and then my brother-in-law, who's been in business like 35 years in several different states. He is full-time as well. His name is James.
Okay. And how many deals does James do?
I think last year he did 12.
And your daughter, now she just had a great week. She put 5 deals in the escrow. What did she do last year?
Last year she did, I believe, 6 deals, and last year was her first year back with me. And she did it very part-time because her first baby, that was her
Yep.
first baby. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other 6 people are part-time and they're doing onesie twosies
Yeah,
for,
I would say three to six transactions each.
okay. What is the commission split? What is your retained commission from these people?
Yeah, so if they do their own transactions where it's not my lead or anything, they get 70%, I get 30%. And then if it's one of our leads that it's one of my buyers that I pass off, or if it's one of our internet leads that we've had through the years, we have about 20,000 people in our database that still come every once in a while, then we're on 50-50.
Do you know how much revenue they generated for you? Gross profit revenue, meaning after you've paid them, what is the
What's to
revenue?
me?
Yes, what's to
Yeah,
you for last year, roughly
yeah,
speaking?
give me just a second. I'll pull it up. I have it right here. Last year was 110,000.
Okay, and what was your gross production income, gross income last year?
About 400,000.
If you were to look at the time that you spent with these individuals, not including your daughter and brother-in-law, but the others, would you say that they're the 20% of the 20/80 of your daughter and brother-in-law, or are they a higher percentage of that?
I don't spend a lot of time. Like if they have questions, they can call me on the phone, whatever, but I don't spend a lot of time like individually helping them. I would say that that's probably 20% of my time.
Are you familiar with our Beyonce backup dancers business model? I'm going to come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
Where do you want your business to be ideally? If you were to draw out in the next 3 to 4 years, what would that look like? Meaning, how much business are you doing? How much are you working within reason? Like what is that due north, the vision that you have for your business?
This year, I think we'll do 100 transactions. I would like to get to where we can do 200 transactions. And I would like to be like 36 of them because I can do 3 transactions a month basically in my sleep. And I love doing it. I never feel like I go to work every day. People ask me, do you work a lot? I'm like, no, I don't work that much. My wife is like, you always work. Like, it doesn't feel like work to me. Like, I love this. I love putting deals together. I love helping people achieve goals. Like, all of that for me is like, I can never imagine retirement. So my retirement is my wife and I go on trips, and I want to be able to go on that trip and not have phone calls, which I'm getting better about that. When we're out of town, I just want to be out of town. But when I'm in town, I'd rather be working.
I'm the same way. So I feel like business is a big video game for me. Like just trying to level up all the time. So it's
Yeah.
there are some things that feel like work. If I didn't have this, I don't know what I would do. I'd be bored to death.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
my
I get
mind,
bored if I'm at home for 4 or 5 hours in a row. So
yeah, it's about 15 minutes for me. It's a place I sleep. Okay. One of the issues that potentially is a problem, and it may not be a big problem, but there is in the business plan that we have, I have a section in there how buyer agents will kill your business. The reason why I believe that they're not good for the business is if you refer them 100% over to an agent, and that agent is a reasonable person. And I'm not talking about your daughter, that it's all in the family. I'm talking about somebody else. That if they're a good person and they work hard, at the end of that transaction, the buyer is going to assume that their agent is that buyer's agent. It's not Will Carter.
agreed.
That's a real challenge because now that agent is going to get the referrals. That agent is going to get the repeat business, and it has a diminishing effect on the business. One of the things that I highly recommend is for our clients to have this, again, what I call the Beyonce backup dancers business model. So everybody goes to the concert for Beyonce. Like they're not going for the backup dancers, but the backup dancers adds to the show. It enriches the show, it makes it better. But everybody knows why they went to the show. It was for Beyonce. So how do you do that in a business? We have a spreadsheet that we create that has it, and it's color coded. So if you put someone's name in it, Susie the buyer, there are certain things, and we called the backup dancers, by the way, an associate. Beyonce, she is not negotiating for the venue. She's not planning the date. She's just making sure that the show is amazing when she gets out on stage. And that's what we want to have with our clients. So if a lead comes in or someone calls from your database, Beyonce, the head person, goes and has that initial conversation, either a buyer consult or a listing agreement. They go out and you are that agent. And most likely you're going to sign that client and bring them into the fold. As you're doing that, you are presenting that you have a team of people that are working with you. Beyonce has a team of people. If you're one of the top lawyers in town, I've got an attorney that we use for HR stuff. I work with all of his associates, and when there's a big issue, it comes to him, and then we get his advice. But a lot of the stuff can be handled by his associates and the paralegals that we are working on. When you're in that presentation, you lay out what the process is. So I am here, we sign this up, we have a process. Here is the process that we use when we're selling your home. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. Or if you have a buyer, here's our process. And we have a buyer's presentation that we talk about, and this is the process. And my partner, my associate, not my assistant, because if you downplay him too much, it's not gonna be good. This is Susie. She is amazing. So you edify Susie, who comes along with you, and she's showing property. So let's say it's a buyer deal. She's showing property. You're having a meeting with Susie every day. We call it a huddle. What's going on with these clients? She's calling them every day. Nothing new came on the market. Nothing new came on the market. Oh, something new came on the market. So there's a lot of communication. In most cases, I think the average is people have to see 10 homes before they write an offer, where they feel like they shopped. Once they get to a point where they're ready to write an offer, you have a conversation with them. It could be on the phone. Hey, I looked at the property, I previewed it, I think it's a great piece of property. You talk about what the pricing strategy or the offer strategy is going to be, and then you are making the call to the other agent, because the other agent knows you. They want to do business with you. This is one of the reasons why people want to do business with you, is because you have that reputation. And that's powerful, because if they're getting offers that are similar from other agents they don't know, that don't have your reputation, they're going to push your offer probably forward than they would other offers, because they know you're going to get the deal closed and they can count and trust that you're going to do what you say that you're going to do. Once that offer gets accepted, you call the client and say, hey, congratulations, we're on contract. Oh, good feeling. Now, Susie comes back in, she meets the appraiser, she's doing the disclosures. I believe that we should go through disclosures with clients, not send a big pile of a DocuSign where people don't know what they're signing. That's a higher level of service she could walk through. And then as she's doing that, Will wanted me to make sure that you knew this. Will wanted me to make sure you're doing this. The backup dancer is your agent. Their job is to build your brand in your client's mind. So when they're driving around, they say, Will is the greatest guy in the world. He's one of the best agents. He's beloved by his clients. Like, this type of feedback is incredibly powerful. So you have to hire someone who is willing to build you, and they take care of all of the stuff that has to be taken care of. And then at closing, you either are going to the closing or you're meeting them to give them the key. So you are at the very beginning of the process. And Susie's talking about you the whole time, just like my attorney, his son is Spencer, and he says, I'm gonna go talk to Trevor. I'm gonna get Trevor's advice. Trevor is the main guy. They all refer to him when they're putting together a contract or whatever the case may be. This is the same thing. I'm gonna check with Will. I want to make sure that, or I talked to Will and Will said he wants to make sure that you're looking at this house before you write the offer. So you're still behind the scenes. You then have that closing. Who do they think is their agent at the end of that process?
B.
Right.
Yep.
And when we do that, we are now looking at 2 hours for the initial consultation, 2 to 3 hours for putting a deal together, 2 to 3 hours for the closing, maybe not even that, an hour. So we're talking about less than 10 hours to receive a check. You can pay the associates an hourly rate plus a bonus, or you can give them, if you have one or two people, one ideally to start, you can pay them as little as 20% on all of your deals. And so the idea is, for me, if you're functioning like that, you should be able to go from 40 deals to 80 deals and maintain a lot more commission. And you're just doing the stuff you love to do. You're just putting the deals together. You're getting the contract signed. I remember this long time ago. I was watching a movie when I was younger, a movie where they were in the operating room and the doctor would go, scalpel, and the nurse would give him a scalpel, clamp, right? You remember those old movies where they would do that, right? And she started to laugh. I go, what are you laughing at? Because she was a nurse. She goes, it's not like that. He says, I go, what's it like? It's just the doctor just puts out his hand. The nurse knows what he needs, right? And they're handing it to him. And that's what you want to set up. You want to set up a process where there's a spreadsheet or a dashboard where the lead comes in, you've got three things that's color coded. As soon as that's completed, the associate is up and running on the next things. And every day you can have a meeting, what we call a huddle. It's first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whenever it's good. And it's a 15-minute huddle. It's very short. Just what's going on with all of these people. So that when the buyer calls you, Tom, the buyer calls you, and they say, hey, we're looking at this property. Yeah, I talked to Susie this morning. She was telling me about it. Sounds like a great property. What would you like to do? So you're aware of what's happening with those things. But again, you're really maximizing your time. So I'm going to go back into this for a second. One of our fundamentals in our business plan is that you are the CEO of your business. So if you're the CEO of General Motors, your job is to allocate the capital, the resources of that business to get the highest return in that business for that year. The factories, that would be the parts, that would be the money, that would be human resources that they have. For you, primarily, it is your time. And so if you're going to go from the amazing business you already have, Will, it's now creating efficiency in what you're doing. And that means that you have to identify what is the most valuable aspects of your time. What does your time generate for you? And that's either in the deal or networking and growing that network larger. And so I don't know if you're a golfer or you go to church or what do you do for fun? Like, where do you go meet people? And
Yeah, I go to the gym in the morning and then I go to a grocery store that has like a bakery and tea, and I sit out there at least for an hour every day and I meet tons of people there. So I have a part of a German Shepherd dog club and I get tons of clients from
love
there.
that.
I also just network. Like I said, I meet people and find out what they do and try to help them with their business. And so I have a networking group. It's not an official networking group, but there's about
Yep.
10 of us that get together all the time, and we invite new people all the time just to hang out.
The more that you are out doing those types of things and expanding those types of things, the more people that you are going to meet. And typically, if you add one person to your database, after they've been seasoned with all of the marketing, they are worth about $1,000 just being in the database on the law of averages per year. And that's significant. So when I look at right now, we have about 300 people all in your database. Like, we want to get that number up. And that's the other thing. So you probably have a lot more people that we don't have their phone numbers, we don't have their email addresses. One of the great ways to do that, to get that information, to have a reason to ask for that information, is to have an event. Are you doing any events?
Yeah, we did a Christmas Pictures with Santa event. We had about 200 people there. It was great. And we have plans to do it again this year for a bigger event. Spring training baseball game in March. And we're doing a school supply back to school drive for teachers, where we're going to give away 100 bags full of school supplies for teachers, and they're going to have to get nominated. And so we'll do a big social media event with that as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So one of the things that I would really like for you to do, and you're already doing a lot, but I'd like for you to have an event where you are doing something for a charity. So you have to pick something that's local, hyper local.
Well, we did
So
that with our Christmas event. We did a toy drive with that Christmas event. And I didn't think
okay,
we were going to get a lot, but we got a whole refrigerator box full of toys and stuff that people brought. And that
that's
was for the
awesome.
Chandler Fire Department. So they came, picked it up. We had
That's
pictures with
awesome.
them.
On that one, instead of it being the company driving it, it's you driving it to your sphere of influence, and you're inviting all of your friends. So in that database, whatever the event is that you're having, you can say, hey, I got this event. I'd love to see you. I just need your address. I don't have it. Can you send me the address so I can send you the invitation? Those types of things then flush out to a higher number of all in. So we want to be able to market in different modalities, meaning, or different channels. They have to be coming all over from different areas. And I'll give you an example. So in marketing, you're driving down the road and there's a new billboard, and you see that billboard when it's there. And the first few times you go by, you totally notice it. But after you've gone by it 25 times, you don't see it anymore. Still there, right? If you moved it across the highway, you would notice it again, because it's coming from a little bit different of a channel. So once we get used to something, we start to ignore it. That's why we have to have stuff coming from email. We need to have it on Facebook. We need to have print mail, which is super important. We need to have the invitations. That's why we want to mix up all of these different types of things. And so the more people that we have with all of the information means that we're able to hit all of them through these different channels, which is going to increase the mind share that you have for real estate, so that when they do have a need, you have the best shot of getting to the kitchen table. And if you get to the kitchen table, you're going to get the listing. One suggestion, you can have these other people that are doing, you're supporting them, you're helping them. But I would suggest, and your daughter sounds like a killer, so she should be a rainmaker, however you want to do that. But you should probably have someone who wants to be a support person. They like being a support person. They don't want the stress of having to generate the business themselves. There's certain personality types that really like that, and they feel good about that. I would highly suggest taking a look at that, because you could do more business, and it's safer business because it's going to stay in your database versus referring it out. And that will allow you to raise revenue and to keep a bigger portion of that revenue. And at some point, that person could, just like at a law firm, go from being a paralegal to an associate to then a partner in the business, so to speak. Doesn't have to be a 50-50 partner, but they could have some ownership in an LLC, maybe 10%, 15%. And so then you build this group where you are the main attorney, the main person in the business. And that's how that business can grow and continue to produce, and that you can then retain people underneath. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And actually, I was calling her my assistant, but when she first got hired, she was my operations manager, and that's how I introduced her to everybody. And we just had a conversation where she actually could be that person for me now, because she's moved on. She's been with me 6 years. She talks like me. She answers questions like me. So she could be that person, and she does. She does a lot of my showings, and what I've done with her is she takes it over. She shows them. She writes the contract. I always negotiate. I tell them, just like you said, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go look at this house. I know you saw it, you like it. I'm going to go take a look at it so I can see it firsthand. We'll figure out, we'll look at the comps. We'll write she writes the contract. She gets 25% of the commission. And I told her that we need her to be more working directly with me as opposed to all the paperwork stuff, because that we can get someone and pay them different amount of money to do that.
You can pay them less. You put in for 6 years, you got a relationship with this person, and you just have to do it more on purpose. Who is the partnership executive that you're working with right now?
Yuri.
Okay. So one of the things that we need to make sure that we do is we get you this spreadsheet, and we use an Excel spreadsheet. When you have someone in the funnel of the deal, it's not the CRM, it's when you're actually working the deal. I like it because I'm a little ADD, and it's color coded. So I don't know if you know this, but ADD people really like color coded stuff. It helps them focus on the areas that they need to focus in on. You have these activities, and as soon as one's done, the next person can say, okay, I'm up, I'm ready to go. There doesn't have to be a lot of communication, just the huddle. Now we're working like a team. We have a system, we have a process, and then we're fine tuning that process. So the realities are your time is incredibly valuable. And because you are a giver, because you do take care of people, because you are the person that you would hire, all of these fundamentals that we talk about in our business, your business now has a lot more opportunity for growth because of what you have already done and established in your business. Now this becomes a little bit more difficult because you have to really be purposeful and to create the efficiencies that you need to have to produce at a higher level. Harvard Law School has something that's actually the Harvard Review calls it the growth paradox. Have you heard of this before?
No.
The growth paradox is that the more you grow, the more complex the business becomes. The more complex the business becomes, the more inner challenges a company can have because of the complexity, and the business can fold in on itself. This process that you're at is a great problem to have, but this is my opinion. All of this is my opinion. I'm not trying to tell you you should do it the way I'm telling you because you're successful already, but you want to make sure, in my opinion, that you are, again, incredibly purposeful in what you're doing. You're building the system, because what you've done to get to this level will not take you to the next level. And that's something that I've found for Fusion as we've grown. The first $1 million in revenue was one thing that got us to 5 million, different from 5 million to 10 million, different from 10 million to 20 million in revenue. It's all different. And there's changes that have to be made along the way. And a lot of people are not comfortable with that. But if you don't do it, you'll stagnate. And there should be no reason for you to stagnate. You've built an amazing brand already. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you don't have to sugarcoat for me, just so you know, like I wouldn't be on this call if I didn't value your opinion. And so you could just say it how it is to me. I don't have ego in this. All I want to do is get better. So
I feel very strongly about my viewpoints, but I'm just recognizing and sharing the humility that I don't have all the answers. I feel very strongly doing what you're already doing with this one person and building out your team that way should be where your focus is. If you have more people that come to you that are the onesie twosies, I would really guard your time very carefully. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, my daughter already put that into place. She said, we're going to have standards. We're not doing this way anymore. Yeah.
I think that's so important because your time is so valuable. And your due north is to take care of the family and the people that you love, which means that you need to make more money than what you are making.
Yep.
And then you can distribute that money in a way that makes sense for you. My uncle, who is a very successful financial planner, he had like 300 offices. And that was one of the things that always stood out when he gave me advice is that you have to guard your time jealously.
So the funny thing about this business is it's not rocket science. We all know it intellectually. It's just doing it is the hard part.
It is doing it. It is being intentional and having discipline. I've worked out pretty much all of my life. I'm in good shape, but I'm not a Mr. Olympian. I don't run marathons. And I see people come into the gym brand new and they kill themselves for 2 months. And then you never see them again. Work out 45 minutes. I'll run every other day or I'll go for a walk I do something every day and the compounding effect is incredible over a period of time. But if I went and I worked out so hard that I didn't want to work out the next day, it wouldn't happen. And so when you're planning your inputs and the work that you're doing, try and create habits that you can 100% do every day, but don't kill yourself on it. So if it's 2, 3 hours, whatever, you're scheduling it, you're doing it, and you're making sure you get those things done. Time will solve all the other problems. You don't have to knock it out of the park right away. And that's what everyone tries to do. They try and solve all of the issues right now, get all the money right now. And I don't know any great business that functions like that. People just don't.
So since you said that part of the story, I'll tell you this. 15 months. So I grew up, I played sports, I worked out, I was a college athlete. And then, for 20 years, I let myself go. Got to a point 15 months ago, had to have a hip replaced. And so that was January of last year. And I started doing rehab and I'm like, I weighed 340 pounds. I'm like, hey, I got to do something different. Yeah. So I said, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps every day without exception. I'm going to get rid of all the bad carbs in my life. That's all I'm going to do. Just every day I'm going to do that. So that transformed over, 6 months, 7 months, started seeing results and I've made some tweaks, but 15 months later, I'm down 100 pounds and I'm down to 11% body fat. And people ask me all the time, they're like, what did you do? I'm like, it's consistency over time. Pick something you're going to do it every day. It'll work. I promise you. That's literally the only, and since then I was like, okay, this works in my life. This works in my goals. This works in my business. It's just the consistency over time, little things all the time.
And it can just be a few things, but it's all the time. It's consistent every single day. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Your daughter must be very happy about that.
Yeah, we have a very honest family and they've made lots of comments about that what I needed to do. But yes, no, it's been good for everybody.
What else can I help you with?
No, I think this is great. Again, let's not do too much because I got to start implementing some things and make sure that I take whatever we talk about and start doing it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. I do have a question for you. Do you guys ever do anything in-person stuff?
Yeah, actually, we are going to have an event in Denver on the 21st of July, and we're just planning that. We would love for you to be there.
I'll be there for sure.
Okay, that's awesome. I really appreciate you doing this. I hope it's been valuable for you. I'm really glad to have met you. I feel like we're friends already. I want to be the very, very best partner that I can possibly be. And if there's something I can do that will help me be a better partner, please reach out directly. And I
appreciate that. And also know that if I can help you guys with something, happy to do it. Like I have a couple vendors and partners that I work with that they have people call me all the time. Hey, do you work with them? And I have people from across the country call all the time and say, I'm like, yep, this is my story with them. This is my results. And if you should at least talk to them and have the conversation. So however I can help you, I'm happy to do it.
I'm actually going out to California tomorrow for a couple of business meetings. And I am thinking of coming to Phoenix and then going to Houston. If I decide to do that, maybe we can grab a sandwich or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let me know.
Okay. And it's not too hot yet, so that'll be good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Plus, we'll eat inside, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, I moved from California to Florida, and a lot of people can't stand the humidity. I don't mind it.
I'd rather have 90% humidity and 90 degrees than 110 degrees. Honestly, I don't care about sweating. I just hate the extreme heat.
I don't mind it, but I have to bring a sweatshirt wherever I go because when you walk inside, it's freezing. I can't stand the, you know. So
You come in, you're all sweaty, and you go out in, and it's cold.
that's same thing. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, James, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Have a great day.